Are you sick of being afraid about making mistakes on your manifestation journey? Are you sick and tired of being afraid that you can screw it up? Then you're going to want to watch this video. Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy Hbics. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you are all doing fabulous. I hope you are all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. I hope you are. Because if you're not, well, that's just plain stupid. Why are you focusing on being a version of yourself that you don't want to be? Hello, that's how we manifest. Just saying. You can always choose to be Hello Kitty. Just saying. Okay, I'm going to jump right in. If you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. All of my coaching options are in the drop box below. They're in the screens that just went by. I have 2 channel memberships where I go live with my channel members every week. Twice a week. I have the exclusive lives group. We go live together every single Tuesday at 9:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That is a zhuzh only group. That is the group that we share our success stories and tips and tricks around manifestation. And because I'm not sure when this video is going up, I just have to say, this week's group was off the chain. The examples of why we never have to fear how something is going to show up, the examples of how the orchestration can bring about when you think you're experiencing a shit circumstance, how it can end up turning up somehow, some way connected to one of your manifestations. Just saying, it was off the chain amazing this week. That group is the group to come to when you want to feel uplifted and empowered about your manifestation journey. Okay? I also have the hot seat group that goes live together every single Friday at 9 a.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That is the group that you can get your butt into the hot seat to ask me anything you want about your current manifestation, your current circumstance, whatever you want to ask me. It's like having a 10 to 15 minute coaching session with me. If you join that hot seat group, you have access to both groups. Now, speaking about memberships, I am starting a new membership. It is going to be titled something along the lines of Advanced Manifesting or Advanced Manifestors. You know, when it's official and up on the site, I will give you more details, but that is going to be the group where we aren't really going to be discussing things from the perspective of a beginner. This is going to be the group that wants to go deep diving into manifestation. We are going to read and study multiple authors of the gurus and the mystics of the manifestation world. We're going to dive deep. And we're going to go all over the place, from reality transurfing back to Neville Goddard, Genevieve Berend, and so on and so forth. That's the group. If you are getting bored of the same old content on multiple platforms, and you really want to start amping up your game and understanding all the stuff about manifestation. And just like the hot seat group, if you join this new channel membership, it's the trickle down, meaning you're going to have access to all the channel memberships. If you join this new membership, you'll have access to all. So it is worth your money. Okay. It's 3 for the price of 1. Just saying. Okay. I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have Clapper, and you can find me. You can find me on my other YouTube channel, Kimberly's Other Life. But how to get there, how to see me in other places, all that info is in the drop box below. So let's jump in today, friends. Let's jump in. Today, I really want to step into and explain why I believe that you cannot ruin your manifestation. We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to start out by saying you cannot ruin your manifestation. You cannot mess up your manifestation. And if you think you can, you are dumbing yourself down. That's what you're doing. You are dumbing yourself down. You are putting yourself in this teeny, tiny, teensy weensy box of stupidity. Yeah, I said that. You don't have to be afraid. Now, why am I being so sassy about this? Basically because you're awake to manifestation, right? You're awake to who you really are. You are a multi-dimensional being. You are not this simple, just you, 3D you, this physical meat sack. You are a spiritual being. You are above what you have truly believed about yourself. You're above the conditioning. You are limitless. And if you keep thinking that you can mess this up, that in itself is a limited belief that you are accepting for yourself when you do not need to. You do not have to think of yourself as a simpleton. You can't mess this up. You see, unless, of course, you're someone who thinks that you are glued and limited by your 3D body and your 3D meat-filled brain. If that's how you want to view yourself, keep it going. Be fear-mongered. Be afraid. But you are more than that. You are pure, unadulterated consciousness. That is limitless. That is flawless. You are made from the same exact substance or being that is the absolute of consciousness. It is God. It is universe. Multi-dimensional. Do you hear that? Multi-dimensional. Not limited. And you are certainly not limited by your subconscious mind. But if you believe you are, if you accept that as your truth, well, then your 3D is going to provide your miserable experience for you, where you are afraid of messing things up. You're afraid of doing something wrong in the 3D. You're afraid when a thought pops into your mind. It's silliness. It's simpleton thinking. You're not a simpleton. Again, you are pure, unadulterated consciousness. And I will tell you, manifestation is not some new age, new subject that has just popped onto the scene around, 2008, whenever The Secret started getting really popular. That's not when manifestation started. That's not the beginning. Some semblance of manifestation has been talked about for centuries. Centuries. Not just by Neville Goddard, not just by Dr. Joe Dispenza, or any other guru or claim to be guru. It's been talked about in some semblance of a way since man began. And all of, we'll call the original peeps who talked about manifestation, all of the mystics and gurus who have discussed manifestation in some way, shape, or form, touches on the subject of fear and how silly we are to let fear limit us. Why do you think that is? Huh? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that nearly everyone who has ever written a book on manifestation has talked about getting over fears, conquering fears, letting go of fears? Because it is that fear, that fearful thinking, that fearful energy that is keeping you trapped. It is keeping you in the cycle of experiencing a life you do not want, This is where you get to shed that thinking. You have nothing to be afraid of. You do not have to be afraid of your thoughts. And if you are misunderstanding manifestation. And don't get me wrong, I am aware that there are plenty of people who think they are gurus in this community who teach from the aspect of fear-mongering. And I'm going to tell you, all it's doing is limiting you. You see, when we decide that we're going to entertain this conscious manifestation stuff, we start this journey and we start diving in on topics about manifestation. And then we start allowing ourselves to consciously decide, hey, I want to manifest this thing. I want to manifest my specific person. I want to manifest a lump sum of money. I want to manifest big change in my life. When you make that decision, when you allow yourself to say, yeah, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to start directing where my mind is going. I'm going to start choosing that I'm stepping into the being, the state, the version of self that has exactly what you want to manifest. You are not staying in this particular reality. And we'll say this reality right here, this reality road. You see, because this original reality where you started the journey from, that's the limited you. That's the you who believed you could make things a mess. You could screw things up because maybe you've had a lifetime of unfavorable circumstances thanks to some limited beliefs. But when you start entertaining the idea, the thought of embodiment or affirming to your new self, you hop to a new timeline, a new reality where you are free from the limited beliefs that you had over here in this reality. So you see, every time you choose to be a version of yourself, that is an instant reality hop. That is an instant change of version of self. The two realities might look exactly the same. The circumstance that you're experiencing, maybe the circumstance you're trying to get rid of, it might appear to still be there. But that road is different. That reality time track is different. And the unfolding of whatever it is you're manifesting is leading you exactly to it. Every time we shift a state, we hop to different versions of ourselves. And I know that sounds crazy. That can be a cuckoo concept to accept on this journey. But I am telling you from experience, you don't have to be afraid of making mistakes. You just need to remind yourself what version of self you are choosing to be. I can't stand to hear the message, you can mess this up. I can't stand it. Because I used to be the person that was afraid of making a mistake in my 3D. I was the person who was afraid of her thoughts. I was the person that was afraid my subconscious mind was ruining my life because I didn't love my life, up until the moment where I started applying what I was learning about the law of assumption or about conscious manifesting. I was that person. And holy shit, did it keep me in a victim state until I started realizing as I was rising in consciousness, expanding my awareness, that was such a limiting belief that we can choose differently for ourselves. You are deciding what beliefs are going to stick around for you. You see, on this journey, as you are choosing to be a version of yourself, the idea is to rise above the fears. So why would we ever want to trap ourselves in thinking you can mess this up? That sounds to me like someone who believes you are limited to the current reality around you. You want to step out of that thinking. You want to drop that thinking immediately. You are a multidimensional being. Even Neville Goddard himself wrote, By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Hebrews 11:27. Egypt means darkness, belief in many gods causes. The king symbolizes the power of outside conditions or circumstances. He is your concept of yourself as already being what you want to be. Enduring as seeing him who is invisible means persisting in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. Thus, this quotation means that by persisting in the assumption that you already are the person you want to be, you rise above all doubt, fear, and belief in the power of outside conditions or circumstances, and your world inevitably conforms to your assumption. Does that sound like someone trying to tell you to be afraid that you can mess this up? Be afraid of doing something in the 3D because you're limited by your 3D circumstances and conditions? No. Neville is teaching you to rise above fear. Rise above that which is keeping you limited. The belief that you are this one being in this one state. That, my friend, is fear mongering. Neville is teaching you to let go of that. And so was any other person across the centuries talking about manifestation. It's about getting out of that fearful thinking and stepping into your new self, the self that has the desire. So do you really think the version of you who has whatever it is you're manifesting is living in fear that they're going to mess it up and lose it? No. New self, the self in the state of the wish fulfilled isn't afraid of losing their manifestation. You see, on this journey, we do have to remind ourselves of which version of self we want to be, because that's where our free will comes in. The free will to choose which state or which self you're embodying. That's where the free will comes in. So in other words, you have the free will to keep telling yourself that you can mess this up, and therefore you will stay as that version of yourself, and reality will conform to your assumptions, to your beliefs. This is the place to free yourself, to stop being afraid of making mistakes in your 3D. That is only going to keep you trapped in a cycle of fear, or let alone in a cycle of you believing or fearing that you need the manifestation coach, or you need to buy the next course or the next, I don't know, what else are we selling out there? Books, that you need to purchase these things, or else you'll make a mistake. Do you see what I mean? Free yourself of this thinking. As long as you are putting your intention, your focus on who you want to be, aka the version of you that has what you want, that's the only thing you really need to worry about. Making mistakes in the 3D, or overreacting in the 3D. You are thinking too logically, too literally, which is nothing but drowning you in limits. Free yourself from fear. You have nothing to be afraid of. Put the focus on who you want to be, and reality is going to reflect you. You're not limited. You are not one-dimensional. You are multi-dimensional. Close your eyes. Who's seeing behind the eyes? Who is there? Who is that? Consciousness. And consciousness is above the 3D physical meat sack. You're above it. But because you have the free will to believe whatever you want about yourself, if you want to keep thinking that you're limited to this meat sack, I'm sorry, but your journey is going to be lumpy, bumpy, and overall yucky. Free yourself. I have, And my life has quickly changed. Yours can too. There's nothing that separates you watching me. There's nothing that separates us. We are all connected to the same one consciousness, or you can call it the universal mind, or the universe, or God, or the absolute. Give it any title you want. But we're all connected. We're all equal on the playing ground of conscious manifestation. No one is above anyone else. And no one has more, I don't know, special magic that the person sitting next to him doesn't. No. The power, the authority is in who you're choosing to be. And thank the God, the universe, whatever you believe in, for giving us this. We're made from that. That's who we are, connected to the one mind. So let's use it. Let's use it to our advantage and stop fearing messing up your manifestation. It's going to be the best decision you've ever made by letting that go. And, if we really had to be afraid of making mistakes, well, then why would Neville Goddard talk about revision? See what I'm saying? There's nothing to be afraid of. Ever. You're not going to mess anything up. Stop focusing on being afraid and focus on who you want to be. And watch that reality change. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow. Or advanced manifest.